And double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and have taught this word in truth and sincerity. And peace and mercy to the hopeful elect. All right, starting with 144,000 and the innumerable multitude that sincerely believe upon the names of Yahawah and His only begotten Son, YAHAWASHI. So in today's class, will be another edition of Doomsday Prophecy, obviously, where we connect world events to biblical prophecy. And this is going to be a part 2 of what we did on Sunday, the fall of the great whore, and when Babylon's wine turns into blood. We dealt with the first half, the fall of the great whore, and now we'll get into Babylon's wine turning into blood, which, actually you brought it out last time a lot, but I'm going to bring it out again because it's a good precept. And Jeremiah 51, I'll pull that up real quick. And you got a precept as well, Malak? Oh, you can't hear me, eh?
Shalom.
Shalom. You got a precept?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you have a precept?
Yeah, I was going to go to the book, Wisdom of Solomon, because
hold it for a second. Hold it for a second. I just want to get this real quick. This is Jeremiah 51 and 7, right, in the NLT, concerning Babylon's wine turning into blood. The blood represents violence and death, which is what's going to end up, which is really what's transpiring and brewing throughout the four corners of the earth, but especially in America. So this is Jeremiah 51 and 7. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, right, in Yahweh's hand. A cup that made the whole world or the whole earth drunk. The nations drank Babylon's wine, right, the philosophy, the way of Esau Edom, the way of Satan, the way of the devil, man, which he is the deceiver on earth, because they run America, right? The top wicked elites, which are Edomites, primarily, they run America. So the whole world, all these nations have drinking up the philosophies, the religion, and the mindset of Esau Edom. And it says, and it drove them all mad. Okay, so everybody went crazy, and now that everybody's sobering up, basically you're going to get a lot of violence and bloodshed through all that, because people are waking up to the fact that America was a joke. It was really just a dream. All its aspects was a lie. And now you see people taking matters into their own hands. You just had a guy gun down some small hatter in New York on the 33rd floor, right? Talking about football was giving him some kind of mental illness, something like that. But it so happened to be on the 33rd floor, right? That's a psyop. Like, you missed all the pedestrians and all the people in the hotel. You went all the way up to the 33rd floor and you busted a small hat. You know what I mean? Like, but people everybody's waking up to the bullshit, all right? And they're going crazy about it. So that's it. That's all I wanted to bring out. Go ahead, Malak, and then we'll get into the clip I have here.
Well, actually, if you could, Ryan, if you could pull it up for me, Jeremiah 51, right, 7 to 9. 7 to 9. Jeremiah 51, 7 to 9.
Oh, I'm there right now.
Not there yet. It's just getting ready to screen here.
I'm there right now,
Yeah, go ahead.
You want an NLT or King James?
Let's see if I put it. Yeah. KJV is fine.
Actually, matter of fact, I need to grab something. Mayan, you can read it. I need to grab something real quick.
Yep.
Water.
Con.
You want NLT? I got an KJV.
Yeah, KJV is fine. Start at verse 6 to
Okay.
8, real quick.
This is Jeremiah 51 and verse 6. It says, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord Yahawah's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense."
Right. Yeah. So I just brought this precept out, right? Going into the final warning. Seek him while he's available in spirit and in truth. For the elect. Okay. Just prefacing that because as brother just read, things are brewing. The Lord is he's about execution. And his executions are always sudden, just like his blessings. Read on.
Verse 7, "Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad."
Right. Hey, straight. Listen, hey, leave those doctrines alone. It doesn't matter what they're talking about that looks plausible and fanciful. Leave it alone. Right? The Lord's going to kill people who are holding on to shit. I guarantee you. He will do it. I know what it's like. Right? So they're drunk. They're drunk with that shit, that poison. Right? But it's not for the elect to drink or to hold on to. None of it. Read. Final verse.
8, "Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain."
Yeah, that's morally, intellectually, spiritually, first and foremost, spiritually. They have nothing for us. Doesn't matter what they say. Right? Financially, the whole thing is finished. Right? The only thing we're waiting for is what? The wind to come. Those winds. Right?
Yeah,
That's the
missiles.
main thing. Now, in terms of the physical destruction of this place, but as far as the laws are concerned, they're ready to bring about the MOTB. And that's because the Lord says so. All right? So I'm going to leave it at that in regards to this fallen thing, this thing that's falling apart, that's spinning around this system, Babylon, that the whole world is following after, that is, the whole world is patterned after. That's all I got.
Kind of just to add on to what the Elder Malak touched on real quick. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians 5. I'll just read it 1 to 4 because a cry has been made, and only the sheep of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI is going to respond to it, right, with all spirit, right, and truth. We're going to be like Noah and move with faith. All right. So 2 Thessalonians, it's like a first Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 1. Let's read on to 4. All right. So as touching Babylon, it says what? But of the times and seasons, right, brethren. Okay, so we're talking to the brothers, man. Really and truly, we could give two craps about you heathens and 2/3 because it was not prefaced in the doctrine that you would adhere to this truth, right? To this the warnings, right? So the Bible is clearly saying, right? But of these times, brethren, right? Ye have no need that I write unto you. Why? Because we are occupied in scriptures. We're occupied in prophecies. We're occupied in the spirit of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Revelation 19:10. All right, verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly, right? Perfectly, which goes into knowing all things. All right, all things what each part of the body has been given different parts of the scriptures to come together as a puzzle, if you will, right? To bring forth what? Truth that's been long hidden, right? That the day of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, are we saying peace and safety? No. They're speaking about another group of people. Oh, peace and safety, and vote this person in. I'm stimulus checks. All this, this all leading back to you feeling secure in yourself. You can afford this, and do things that it's worldly, right? That's going into peace and safety. But the Lord says what? Sudden, right? Destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. All right. But ye, us, the hopeful elect, brethren, are not in darkness as it pertains to these scriptures, that that day should overtake you, us, as a thief. All right. And 5 goes on, into it. I read 5 as well. Ye are all the children of light. What? We are the children of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. And the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of the darkness. Okay. So that's touching the hopeful elect, mainly the 1/3 and the 1 for 1,000. Go ahead, Akim.
Yeah. I got this here real quick. This is from chat for Jeremiah 51:8. It says, Babylon's fall is described as sudden, despite her power. Her collapse comes quickly and violently.
Oof.
The mourning here is not sympathy, it's bitter irony. Take balm as if her wounds would be healed with medicine, but no ointment can save her. Her destruction is total and irreversible. You can't bandage divine wrath. And verse 9, it says, here's the final verdict. Babylon had her chance, and it's over. And really, Babylon had its time. So there was no chance of it lasting forever anyways. Okay, but it had its time, and it played its purpose. And it's over. We would have healed her, a poetic way of saying there might have been a window, but she refused repentance. And it says she refused repentance, which is all I think it's in this chapter, the second verse or the second chapter in 1 Thessalonians, about how all they that refused the word of the Lord, which is really talking about Israelites. All right, the Lord has given them up to is it the wiles of the devil? Is that how it goes? Let me see. 2 Thessalonians. Let me get that real quick here. It's 2:12, I think. Yeah. It says that they, 2 Thessalonians 2:12, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. And that's all of America except for the elect, right? They didn't have pleasure in unrighteousness. So it says, but we are bound. Let me read verse 11. It says, and for this cause, Yahweh shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, right? And that lie they're going to believe, as we all know, is going to be partaking of the FOTB, the microchip, right? So the Most High has given them a spirit, all right, to follow destruction, to be on their way to destruction.
Mm-hmm.
It says her sins are stacked so high that they scrape the heavens. And this again draws a clear parable to Genesis 11, Tower of Babel, and Revelation 18:5. Both show a Babylon trying to rise, but instead provoking judgment from above. And that's what happened, right? In the Tower of Babel, they provoked the Most High's anger, and we know what the Most High did with that. Confused the languages, and this is the same thing coming back. So this whole New World Order idea is not new.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been a thing that the heathens have always tried to do, and our people have always been partakers of it. The majority of our people, and this is just technological Tower of Babel. That's all we're witnessing right now.
That's right. Forwarded. Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, let's get into this video here with, this is from Geopolitical Economy Reports. Fair use, fair use, fair use. None of the channels on this panel are using this video to make money. All right, we're just sharing this video for edification purposes only. So fair use, fair use, fair use. And as the topic says here, ruled by the rich, Western governments are oligarchies, not democracies. And this is what people are figuring out. All right, that wine is also democracy is also part of that wine that the American people have drunk it, and the nations have drunk it, but they're waking up. all the citizens are waking up to the fact that it's really oligarchy. Okay, so let's start from we'll start from 0 here. We'll skip around and we'll get some precepts.
Can't hear it, Mark.
Could you guys hear that?
No sound.
Oh, yeah, okay. Give me a second.
Western governments frequently claim to be the model
Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
of democracy, and they demonize their geopolitical adversaries as authoritarian. Former US President Joe Biden claimed in his State of the Union address in 2022 that the US-led West is fighting a war between democracies and autocracies.
The battle between democracy and autocracies. Democracies are rising to the moment, and the world is clearly choosing the side of peace and security. This is the real test.
However, there's a very big problem with this narrative, which is that Western governments are not democracies, and especially the United States is not a democracy. And I don't mean that in the superficial sense when people say, the US, according to the Constitution, is not a democracy. It's actually a republic. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean is that if we take the definition of democracy as a system of government that is ruled by and for the people, representing the interests of the people of the country, the US is not a democracy. It is, in fact, an oligarchy or a plutocracy. The US system is one in which large corporations and economic elites and billionaires determine government policy, not average working people. And the same is true for countries in Europe and the broader collective West. Just because a country has elections doesn't mean that a country is actually democratic, especially considering that the candidates in those elections are overwhelmingly economic elites from large corporations and banks, and they're billionaires, or they represent the interest of billionaire oligarchs who fund their political campaigns. The Canadian Prime Minister is a millionaire banker, Mark Carney, who was previously the head of the central banks of the UK and Canada and worked at Goldman Sachs. The former Prime Minister of Italy, the last Prime Minister, Mario Draghi, is a millionaire banker from Goldman Sachs and the World Bank and the European Central Bank. France's millionaire president, Emmanuel Macron, is a banker as well. And the UK's last Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, is the richest ever Prime Minister, nearly a billionaire, over $800 million of wealth. He started his career working at Goldman Sachs, and now he has gone back to work at Goldman Sachs. And in the United States, the rise of Donald Trump, who himself is a billionaire with 13 billionaires in his administration, he has become the perfect symbol of how the US is an oligarchy. But this did not start with Donald Trump. This goes back many decades, even centuries. And social scientists in the US and European countries have studied the impact. This is one of the most blatant forms of class warfare that we've seen in many years. This law will massively slash taxes.
I'm just getting the main points in this video. It's a 42-minute video, so if you want to watch the whole thing for yourself, you just go on this guy's page and watch it.
On the richest Americans. 72% of the tax cuts in this bill go to the richest 20% of Americans in a year. In July, and policies that benefited rich elites at the expense of everyone else, including his so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which was voted on by the House first, and then it was passed by the Senate in July. And this is one of the most blatant forms of class warfare that we've seen in many years. This law will massively slash taxes on the richest Americans. 72% of the tax cuts in this bill go to the richest 20% of Americans. 0% of the tax cuts go to the poorest 20% of Americans.
And remember that Big Beautiful Bill was also came under the guise of making America great again, hence the whole chant of MAGA. Right? But when you go into it, you're seeing that it's really making America great again for the top wicked elite, the ruling class, hence oligarchy, which means a rule of the few. Okay.
Richer you are, the more Trump's policies benefit you. Thanks to Trump's tax cuts on the rich, the richest 1% of Americans will see their taxes cut by $66,000, whereas the poorest 20% of Americans will have their taxes cut by $40. 40. That's not a typo. And this comes after Trump already cut taxes on the super rich during his first administration. In 2019, during Trump's first term, a study found that due to Trump's tax cuts, billionaires in the US, the 400 richest families in the US, paid a lower average tax rate than the bottom half of Americans, of poor and working class Americans. Donald Trump's policies are literally the reverse of Robin Hood. It's taking wealth away from poor and working class people and giving it to the rich. Billionaires and corporate elites constantly fearmonger about left-wing politicians who want to redistribute wealth, but we're actually seeing redistribution. It's already happening, except it's redistribution from the poor to the rich by the government. This is oligarchy. And I have to say, it's not surprising when you look at the people who are making US government policy. Donald Trump appointed a billionaire from Wall Street, the hedge fund manager Scott Bessent, to run the US Department of the Treasury, to run US fiscal policy. And what's especially ironic about this is Scott Bessent got his career started working for the billionaire oligarch George Soros, who's one of the main funders of the Democratic Party and Democratic Party-linked organizations. But Trump didn't really care that Bessent was so closely linked to Soros because Trump knows that Soros is a billionaire like him, and they're all part of a small club of oligarchs who run the US government and other Western governments. This is actual capitalist so-called democracy. And during his first term as US president, Donald Trump appointed another oligarch from Wall Street to run the US Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, who has a wealth of over $400 million. And you know what Steve Mnuchin did before he became the head of US fiscal policy? He worked for Goldman Sachs, the powerful Wall Street investment bank. And Goldman Sachs is going to come back again and again and again, especially when I talk about the Canadian government and European governments, because the prime ministers and presidents of many other Western governments have also worked for the major Wall Street bank, Goldman Sachs. And this is true even of the right-wing so-called populists in the West. Steve Bannon, for instance, portrays himself proudly as a populist. And he was the CEO of Donald Trump's presidential campaign in
Okay, so before we continue on, I'm going to get a precept. One of the major things that stuck out to me as he's bringing all that information out is the tax cuts. That's another thing, because people already living off of food stamps, right? Losing jobs due to automation. But Esau's technology and his so-called innovations were a part of the wine, right, that people have gotten drunk off of, and these nations have gotten drunk off of. But again, when these people, as they are right now, wake up to the fact that everything that was put in place, every policy, was never for you. Okay, it was only for the top rich who rule over you. You're gonna start to see people lose it. This is why you got civil unrest as a prophecy in the scriptures. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Yeah, let me start at 15. It says, the war that will bring their destruction. Let me start at 14. It says, the world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control. Right? And that's what civil unrest is. When you have one, especially within the city. America is just one big city, to be honest. That's why everybody has a citizenship. But you're gonna have the bottom half, right, come up against the top half, right? And it says, while ignoring the legitimate government, there will be no longer free access to the cities, because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possession. That's what this bill is going to bring about. Because he went into the tax cuts. The top rich are saving almost $100,000, $66,000, $70,000, where we're only going to be saving $40, right? So that's funny to me. A lot of people are going to go crazy when they realize that when they're fully sober up, and this truth, all right, starting with the prophets, is really sobering up everybody, sobering up the whole world.
Yeah,
that's it for there.
I got a precept for you.
I was just going to say the masses will be clamoring for the UBI and the MOTB.
Yeah.
I got Isaiah 10:1. It reads, woe, which means destruction. So woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. So I looked up the word decree in the dictionary, and it means a decree is an official order or decision, especially one sued by a ruler or other authority with legal power. So go back over it again. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decree. So they create these laws and they're unrighteous, right, against the people. It says, and that write grievousness. And I also look up the word grievousness because I wanted to know what that means. It says grievousness refers to the state or quality of being grievous, meaning caused or characterized by 7 pain, suffering, or sorrow. So now back in Isaiah again, Isaiah 10:1, it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness, which they have prescribed. So we see DJ Trump created these laws and passed these bills to enrich him and his cronies while making the poor suffer even more, right? And this is so pretty much these people that sit at the top, if they're not the devil, who's the devil? Right? Who's the devil if these people are not the devil? You know, because these laws are so unrighteous that they don't care about the little man. Right? They don't care about the little man. They just care about themselves and their cronies. If you're not a billionaire, not even a millionaire anymore, a billionaire, you can't sit in the seat that they're sitting in, man.
That's right.
Yep, that's true. And the fight back has always been, well, you know, if we stop working, how's the economy going to run? Well, this is why you have the term automation. This is why these guys don't care. If you lose your job and they siphon all this money from you, and it's hard for you to even get a job, it's hard for you to pay your bills. And like Malak said, this is really a way of them pushing you towards the UBI system, which is another step closer to the mark of the beast. Because once it's a mass number of people who can't work, and automation is in every industry of work, people are going to be without way more than what we see now. The homelessness number is sky-rising all over the place, especially in the Western Hemisphere. So to clean that up, they're going to push people over to UBI. Well, you know what? We have this system for you. We know how Esau works, Hegelian dialectic, right? Problem, reaction, solution. We've got the solution for you. You know, you get your $2,000 a month or whatever it is. But that money, which we know that you're going to get every month, is going to be surveillanced. Okay? You can't just use it like how we had during the whole situation with the C-19, where guys were just using their money and just No, it's going to be, you have a term called carbon credits. Okay? And who knows? They might call it carbon credits. So according to your export or your output of carbon is how much you get from the government. So it's going to be it's all going to be surveillance. It's all going to lead to a tight knit surveillance, from this top ruling class, the oligarchy. Was that it on that? I just want to quickly grab something.
Real quick, I just wanted to say that
yeah, go ahead.
This bill, it's literally was carefully written and planned, because we can say it's not even by accident, because when you go into Proverbs 21:1, the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So what he did was pretty much just fulfilling prophecy, because these things must happen for the UBI to come in, of course, right?
Yeah.
Surveillance for the surveillance, that needs to come in, of course, which is what you just said.
Yeah.
So he's just a puppet, the Most High's puppet doing the Most High's will on the left hand side.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to give him too much credit.
Yeah, gone. This is oligarchy versus democracy, and it says oligarchy rule by the few, right? It says power concentrated in the hands of a small elite, wealthy families, military leaders, or influential groups. It says these are the cons: lack of voice. You're a spectator, not a participant. No vote, no say. Elitism and inequality. The rich get richer and everyone else plays catch up. Power protects itself. Corruption breeds easily. without accountability, self-interest rules the day. And this is America all the way through. This is basically what America was established on when you go back to the 1800s up until now. Okay, before then, America was the new safe haven for a lot of Eastern people from the East to come over and start a new life and all this and that and the third. But when Esau came over here and started taking over everything, primarily in the 1800s, this is what you got. This is what it was built on. It became more. It was built on corruption, right? And it says corruption breeds easily. So it says without accountability, self-interest rules the day. Suppression of dissent. Speak out too loud. Your silence legally, economically, or violently, right? And they've always weaponized currency or money. They've always weaponized it. So if your social credit number, however they plan it out, if your social credit number isn't where it should be, you're not going to receive or be able to do the things that you want to do. And for cons of democracy, which is, really the same thing, just a different term. It says slow and messy, too many cooks in the kitchen, gridlock, red tape, and watered down decisions. Populism and manipulation. Democracy can be hijacked by smooth talkers and media spin. That's Esau Edom. Tyranny of the majority, the 51%, can crush the rights of the 49%. Complacency and apathy. Civilians may stop caring or be too uniformed to make wise choices, and that's the condition we're in, because people have drunk off the wine of Babylon. So now these people don't even understand that they're accepting and voting for their own surveillance. You voted in the automation because you love the convenience that came with it. That's how this devil tricks everybody, by convenience and the lust of the flesh. That's convenience. Everybody, wearables, like the whole wearable thing with the hospital system. What's his name? RFK is going to get everybody to wear a wearable. Damn near everybody has a smartwatch, right? Tracking their steps because it's convenient. Oh, I don't get enough sleep, so I wear the smartwatch to see how much sleep I get. I get a sleep score. So people are already, primed for this NWO and the micro C-hip. Why? Because they're the children of the dark, like Zach brought up, but we're the children of the light. Okay, so it says civilians may stop caring to be too uniform to make wise choices. Then democracy roots from the inside. So that's it.
Okay. I got a quick precept that's touching why things are the way they are, and it's just proving that the Lord does not like everybody or requires the love of everybody. And the love of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI is first and foremost these commandments, right? And when you apply it, you want to feed the sheeps, right? The sheeps being the 1/3 on this side and the 1 for 1,000. Now, the book of Proverbs dictates 9 and 10. It says what? The fear of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI is the beginning of knowledge. So this society, this world, as you brought it out there, like America is a city, right? And so is the whole world, because the whole world consists of citizens, right? Your respective nation, you consider a citizen of whatever nation you descend from, right? So the whole world outside of us, the men who was called and risen up to fear YAHWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, they have no knowledge, right? So the Lord have them under the banner of what? Fools. Okay, and it goes without saying, and needs a definition how a fool is going to act, right? What the society is going to consist of foolish people. Okay, we are actually foolish, right? If you are of the nation of Israel, you're going to be foolish, but you're not the fools, but you're subscribing to the fool's doctrine. All right, so that's why Jeremiah 4:22 said we're sottish. Right, so we're not the fool. We're just acting like them. Okay, So
right.
back in Proverbs 9 and 10, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. And that's what is lacking. It's lacking wisdom, right, to portray a wise domain, right? And the discipline was only to come from who? The disciples, right?
That's right.
And disciple of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So that's what we're seeing happening right now. We're just speaking on it.
Fine. Beautiful. I'm gonna get this actually in Amos 5. We'll get back to the clip. Amos 5 and 9. And it reads, I got it in NLT. No. So Amos 5 and 9. It says in NLT, with blinding speed and power, he destroys the strong, crushing all their defenses. Right? And the strong is talking about these oligarchies as well, the rich of the world. And what's their major defense outside of deception and control through deception is their money. Okay. So it says, how you hate honest judges, how you despise people who tell the truth. And this is why you see these technocrats and oligarchies and all these, what do you call them, Mayan? Cronies. All these cronies, they're bringing about laws really to get rid of the truth, to censor the truth, and ultimately do away with those who speak the 100% truth.
That's right. You know,
yeah, go ahead.
no, like turn up the lights.
Yeah.
You know, like
Con.
you're in the dark, right? And someone comes in, because that's what we came out of nowhere, so to speak, right? Because what we speak right now was not taught in any schools, right? So we came and we switched on the light, and who turned on the light? They start roaches, scouring, and running away.
That's right.
Right, because they weren't ready for this truth to come out. They weren't ready for Yahawashi to be taught.
Con.
So
It
Kazakh,
says verse 11. Huh?
Kazakh, you said that you turn on the lights and the roaches start running.
Yeah. It says verse 11, you trample the poor, stealing their gain through taxes and unfair rent. Right? Therefore, though you build beautiful stone houses, right?
Hey, like if you go on like those like platforms, you see they're showing like Thailand for like a beautiful 3-bedroom with pool and for like $400, right? And like, how come it's so cheap over there? Over here, I'm busting my ass to pay $2,000 basement rent. You know what I mean? So it's showing you who he's talking about.
True.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, con. Yeah, see, America's bitter, man. This place is, it's bitter as hell. That's true. It says you trample the poor, stealing their gain through taxes and unfair rent. Therefore, though you build beautiful stone houses, you will never live in them. Though you plant luscious vineyards, you will never drink wine from them. And this is, of course, it's twofold, because it is applying to our people historically, but prophetically it's applying to our people as well, the top wicked elite of our people and the top wicked elite of Esau, Edom, and the heathens. Okay, the Most High is going to come down on them with heavy judgment for all the what is it called, ungodly gains, ungodly. Yeah, I guess ungodly gains. It's a certain term, ungodly gains. Because remember, the Lord said a false balance is an abomination to him, and taxes and unfair rent is a false balance, man. It says, for I know the vast number of your sins and the depths of your rebellions. You oppress good people by taking bribes, and this is all the oligarchies like Trump, all these guys. That's what there is, one bribe after another to do this and not to do that. If you speak out against the common plan, you get fired. Like that one guy who runs Trump just fired him the other day. He kind of just reports how many jobs there are in America and how many jobs aren't. And he basically didn't report it in the favor of Trump, and Trump fired him. Okay, so it says, "For I know the vast numbers of your sins and the depths of your rebellions. You oppress good people by taking bribes and deprive the poor of justice in the courts."
Right. That's where it's going into. It says a gift spoil the heart. That's like Ecclesiastes 7:7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. And we know those poor is really talking about Israel. You know, you get into the court system, you're already the court system in itself, whether you're an Israelite or not, is faulty, right? It's really just a racket system, but it's even more faulty and more directed towards you when you get in there.
And it's
So
like
it says, yep.
you know, in the library system, the Library of Congress, right? To be a senator or a part of their Senate, how it's set up, you have entryways of seeing old documents. You can read things, and see who's who. So I'm sure they've came across who we really are as a people, but hush money has been paid. And I'm not speaking as a man, but I'm thinking that Israel is being paid off. That place has been paid off because they know that they're not the people. So it's basically a hush money, not to say that who we really are, right? And say, hey, if you pay us, we want to tell them,
right?
You know what I mean? So that's why they deprive the poor, and it's always the poor is always relating to us. It's not some some happy bum. You know, it's always about us being poor and us not having anything as pertaining to the truth. But truth is what costs, right? It's worth every penny, right? Just to hear the truth, you know. So they deprive us of everything, our power, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, right? Or nationality, right? What is, you know, what's right and just in the eyes of the Lord, using their Christian churches, you know.
That's
so,
right.
You know.
Yeah, and they take it to the max, man. Because even in the ancient world, when you were captives and you were taken over, you know, there were some atrocious things that happened here or there, but for the most part, it wasn't like how it is here. You know, you still, if you lived under somebody, you still had a job, you had a family. You know, it wasn't crazy. This is on a whole different level. Even the ancient kingdom, if they looked at today, they'd be like, "Yo, what is this place? This is crazy." In verse 13, it says, "So those who are smart keep their mouths shut, for it is an evil time." And we're coming to that time where the Lord is going to put the Spirit on. Maybe it'll be Apostle Dahar who just puts out the verdict and says, "Yo, we're done. We're done with this. We're not going out there anymore, and we're not saying anything on the YouTube because it's going to be such an evil time that the smart thing to do, if you have this precious truth, all right, is to keep your mouth shut because you don't want to be identified. You know."
Yeah. Let it speak.
Was it Peter? Right. Some might say Peter was being a coward or whatever, but Peter was being smart, man, and say, "Hey, weren't you that man with the Yahweh?" He saw what's up.
You were with them. They made him up.
I said, "Nah, man, ain't me."
It's funny. Verse 14, it says, "Do what is good and run from evil."
That's right.
So that you may live. Then the Lord Yahawah of heaven's armies will be your helper, just as you have claimed.
That's right. So don't sin, right?
Exactly.
This is this is how you run from evil, right? You subscribe to the doctrine and see what the Most High has as you being off, and what He has as you being on the right track. That narrow road. Like, how do I get to that narrow road? Because it's spoken of all through the Bible, right? So what's required of me to be considered on that straight and narrow? And the straight is STRAIT, right? The road of difficulty.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right. So
I got a quick precept.
Sorry, go ahead. Somebody says you got a precept?
Yeah, I got a quick scripture. This is Proverbs 22, verse 22. It says, this is in the KJV. It says, rob not the poor because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. For the Lord Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi will plead their cause and spoil the soul of those that spoiled them. Right?
Hey,
So-
NLT. Let me read for you an NLT real quick. Just simple English. It says, don't rob the poor just because you can. That's how wicked these people are. You know, robbing the poor just because you can. It says, or exploit the needy in court.
Right?
And this is where they make all their unrighteous decrees.
Against
Right?
Jake,
The court
mostly.
system.
Fine.
This is the court. The game is being played here, and I always bring out this is the courtroom settings, right?
Yep.
It's live and direct, man. You know.
That's right. That's right. 23, it says, for the Lord Yahweh is their defender. He will ruin anyone who ruins them.
And that's Yahawashi speaking as a big brother.
That's right.
You know, telling you, you touch my little brother, guess what? You got to answer to me.
That's right. Fine. That's it, everybody. I mean,
Judgment will be executed. Guaranteed.
That's right.
Guaranteed.
That's right.
Go ahead, brother.
is that it, everybody? I mean,
Yeah, that was it. That was the point.
okay, fine. All right, so we'll continue on here, and then I got one more clip going to the surveillance.
He beat Trump, and Biden was president for 4 years, and he violated most of his promises, but he did keep one promise. Thing would fundamentally change. And Biden Manhattan, and he promised them that he would not be responsible for this, but also the Democrats. And Joe Biden is a perfect example of this. When more than during the Gilded Age, just the top 5 billionaires today together own more than $1 trillion in wealth, end quote. And it's not just the Republicans who are responsible for this, but also the Democrats. And Joe Biden is a perfect example of this. When Biden was campaigning to be president in 2019, he brought together a bunch of rich donors from Wall Street at a luxurious hotel in Manhattan, and he promised them that he would not, quote, demonize, end quote, the rich. And Biden pledged, quote, no one's standard of living will change. Nothing would fundamentally change, end quote. Those are the inspiring words of the Democrat Joe Biden in 2019. And then a year later, in 2020, he won the presidential election. He beat Trump, and Biden was president for 4 years, and he violated most of his promises, but he did keep one promise, his most important promise, which was his pledge that nothing would fundamentally change. Nothing did fundamentally change. Just like how nothing fundamentally changed under his Democratic predecessor, Barack Obama. And let's not forget that in 2008, Wall Street was responsible for the worst financial crisis since 1929, since the Great Depression. And what was the response of Barack Obama? It was to bail out the Wall Street oligarchs that caused the crisis. And this is not surprising when you consider that in the 2008 presidential election, who were the biggest donors to Obama's campaign? Well, according to the website Open Secrets, number 2 was Goldman Sachs, the Wall Street investment bank. Number 4 was Microsoft, the Silicon Valley big tech monopoly.
And we just went into this. This is how their system works. People are paid and bought for it. All these politicians are paid and bought for by the banks. Goldman Sachs is a bank. Harvard University, Microsoft Corp. These are corporations. And this is why in Revelation 13 it tells you that he had 2 horns, but he spake as a lamb. Doesn't matter if they're Democrats or Republicans, all right, or liberals or conservatives. They're both on the same body, right? 2 birds, 2 wings of the same bird.
That's right.
Number 5 was JP Morgan Chase, the largest bank in the US. Number 6 was Google, the mega tech monopoly. Number 7 was another Wall Street bank, Citigroup. But again, I want to be fair, it's not just the Democrats, it's also the Republicans. You know who Obama's Republican opponent was in the 2008 US presidential election? It was the neoconservative Republican John McCain. And who were the biggest donors to his campaign? Merrill Lynch, the Wall Street investment firm that in 2008 was acquired by Bank of America. Number 2 was JP Morgan Chase. Number 3, Citigroup. Number 4, another Wall Street firm, Morgan Stanley. Number 6, Goldman Sachs. Number 8, another massive bank, UBS. Then fast forward to the 2012 election in the US, which Obama also won. And the second biggest donor to Obama's campaign was Microsoft.
Oh, what? Okay.
The third biggest was Google. And 2012 was a very revealing US presidential election because you had Obama, who bailed out Wall Street in 2009 and rescued the capitalist oligarchs who destroyed the economy. But who was Obama's opponent in 2012? The Republican Party's candidate was Mitt Romney, who was directly from Wall Street. He was the co-founder of the private equity fund Bain Capital. And if you look at Mitt Romney's major funders in his 2012 race,
You know what? I kind of jumped ahead. That's okay. That was the spirit anyways. Let me get a little bit here then.
and right after returning to the White House, Trump pushed through policies that benefited.
Well, you know what? I got most of the point, actually, to be honest. Let's see. I didn't get this part though.
But again, I have to stress that this did not start with Donald Trump. Trump is merely a symptom. He's not the cause. And the anti-poverty organization Oxfam, I think, put the situation very well. It wrote, quote, "For years, Oxfam, along with advocates and activists around the world, has argued that extreme concentration of wealth is leading to extreme concentration of power, allowing an ultra-rich few to tighten their grips on governments, economies, and media. Oligarchy is not created overnight. Decades of policies and politics across parties in favor of mega corporations and the ultra-rich have got us here. The ultra-richest segments in the US control a greater portion of wealth than they did during the Gilded Age. Just the top 5 billionaires today together own more than $1 trillion in wealth," end quote.
Right. So let me get this precept. Yeah. And these are just the people that we see on the surface. You know, the guys. You know, we always talk about those guys. Yeah, the wicked elite that live they don't even live on the surface. They live underground in their underground cities. You don't see them. You don't hear about them. You can only imagine how they're living down there.
Remember, what's his name's family owns $500 trillion.
Hey, they print wealth.
Those
You know,
elite.
they print it. They print it for the world while they have everything that's true wealth to themselves. This is Ecclesiastes 22 and 25 in NLT, and to jump around, it says, "Your princes plot conspiracies just as lions stalk their prey. They devour innocent people, seizing treasures and extorting wealth. They make many widows in the land." Skip down. It says, "Your leaders are like wolves who tear apart their victims. They actually destroy people's lives for money." And again, this is twofold. Israel did this when we were in our own land. This is why you have Ezekiel prophesying against them. But they do it now, today, right, in the land of America, against their own people. Okay, I think Jordan. I remember one time Jordan said he doesn't make his shoes for Jake. He doesn't make it for Jake in the ghettos. He makes it for the wealthy and Edomites in per se. Okay, and then of course you got Esau with his politicians. They're doing the exact same thing. So it says, "Your leaders are like wolves who tear apart their victims. They actually destroy people's lives for money." And I'll skip down to 29 and says, "Even common people oppress the poor." Right? As the king sold the people. Rob the needy and deprive foreigners for justice.
That's right. And a lot of people are going to be seen as what, commoners, right? Didn't the Moses said, "Don't call what I call clean common," something like that.
Yeah.
So our people, you know, is like you have Sean Combs, right? Being a mogul, will take advantage of people's talents, right? And mislead them, misguide them, all on the banner of what, getting rich, man. You know.
Yeah, well, hey, this is a precept for you for that, because this is what our people have done. Sold out their family members, like Dwayne Wade with his son. He named his son Zion. Basically sacrificed his son, and now it's a woman, it's a girl, and the name is Zayat, right? So complete mockery. But it says, Proverbs 22:16, "A person who gets ahead by oppressing the poor or by showering gifts on the rich will end in poverty. Listen to the words of the wise, apply your heart to my instruction.
Mhm.
For it is good to keep these sayings in your heart and always ready on your lips. I am teaching you today, yes, you, so you will trust in the Lord,
Mhm.
right? So we're not to basically partake in the ways of the wicked of our own people, as if partaking in the ways of Esau, Edom.
Right.
We're taught to suffer with what we got day to day,
Mhm.
so that we can, so our faith can grow in the Lord. Because there's going to come a time where everybody's going to be on even playing field soon. No one will have anything, but those that are of the hopeful elect will have everything because they store their riches in heaven.
That's right.
2020, it says, I have written 30 sayings for you, filled with advice and knowledge. In this way, you may know the truth and take an accurate report to those who sent you. Don't rob the poor just because you can, or exploit the needy in court. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna play this clip on surveillance, and then that'll be it.
Digital slavery.
And this is fair use, fair use, fair use. None of the channels on this panel are making money from this video. We're just sharing this video for edification purposes only.
That's the name of the game. People arguing over pronouns and election results, even American Eagle ads, while the demons in charge tighten the noose. They've got us chained to fake money, taxed into oblivion, and fed dopamine hits through goy slop while they roll out biometric control grids and AI surveillance. This is spiritual warfare, and the mark of the beast system is being brought in by the ones many worship as heroes. Remember when they said all of a sudden our Wi-Fi router can be used as a motion tracker, not for your laptop or your phone, but for you, your footsteps, and where you are around the house? How crazy was that? No camera needed. No one even signed up for this level of surveillance, and all of a sudden they tell us, yeah, you know, your Wi-Fi can just detect where human bodies are in your house at any given time. Somehow Comcast figured this one out through something called Xfinity and their new Wi-Fi motion feature. Your regular old router and basic Wi-Fi devices like smart TVs and printers are turned into real-time motion detectors. No camera required, just waves in the air that can track your every move. It can monitor you from room to room, floor to floor. The crazy part is it can even detect little gestures like a hand flick or a head turn. And this isn't some fringe tech experiment. It's already live, rolled out under the guise of convenience and smart living. Crazy that a regular company like Comcast had this tech available. Imagine what secret government programs they have and what kind of tech they're hiding from the people and using to spy on people. What are they not telling us about, let's say, phone signals or even radiation that comes off the TV? What makes this dystopian AF is that Wi-Fi motion data is sitting on the same infrastructure powered by Databricks, a massive AI and data platform. And earlier this year, Databricks formed a strategic partnership with none other than Palantir Technologies, you know, the CIA-backed surveillance firm that beta tested its social credit death tech system in Gaza. Yeah, that one. The Palantir software that once was used to hunt terrorists on the battlefield is now being used to monitor you in your living room. And Comcast doesn't have to contact Palantir directly. This is how sneaky this all is. They can just run it through Databricks, and Palantir's software slips in through the back door. That's how this works now. This is what you call plausible deniability, hidden integrations and full spectrum surveillance covertly installed in a damn Wi-Fi router. Remember when they said this was all just tinfoil hat crazy?
Yeah, so the Lord's going to give them a lot of control, man. He's going to give them a lot of control because your Wi-Fi is going to be a snitch, your own personal snitch,
Mhm.
all right? Your fridge, all of it, because it's all going to be interconnected. So at the end of the day, if no one can hide, the most important thing is protection, okay, from Yahawah Bahashamm Yahawashi. Now I'm going to skip ahead here, and we'll play from here.
Like choosing who to elect or what to eat at the supermarket, that's over. We all thought it was just one crazy, deranged little gay Jew saying this, you know, this crazy person with these fringe ideas, until the so-called leader of the free world dropped billions of dollars into that exact same ecosystem. Golden age is looking real golden, huh? And RFK Jr., yeah, remember him? The anti-vax hero? The same one that allowed his wife to host an event and demand everyone to be vaccinated? Yeah, that guy. He's now publicly pushing wearables to help public health. But the truth is, these wearables are just step one in a biometric control net. Once your vitals, emotions, movements, and diet are digitized, AI will then govern you. Digital ID, health scoring, monitoring, carbon tracking, even food access, all will be managed under the system once the social credit infrastructure is fully online. And of course, they say, don't worry, it's not going to be mandated. You know, you can just volunteer for this health ecosystem, and they're going to make you healthier by wearing, you know, these wearables and whatnot. Don't worry, not mandated. Same thing they said exactly with the shots, until, of course, you know, a major event happens, a big outbreak, and then they say, oh, you know what? Actually, this system is going to be mandated. Same thing they did with the QR codes. First, they said it's insane. The idea was insane. And then they said, okay, now it's getting serious. We're going to mandate them. Okay. Now we see articles pop up of new illnesses every day. You never know which one they're going to go with. But the one that popped out to me is this Legionnaire's disease, this illness that's spreading across Eastern Canada and Eastern United States. It's called Legionnaire's disease. Now, if you look it up on the news section here on Google, crazy how many outbreaks there are. Another person dead in London, Ontario. Legionnaire's outbreak. Legionnaire's cases touched 70 in London as hospital testing continues, and they're saying it's spread through the water. Isn't this crazy? Legionnaire's outbreak in Harlem, 30 sick, one dead, and at least 22 sick in a cluster out of New York City. More and more articles popping up. The disease was famously identified in Philly. As you can see, there's endless stories of this. And you know they can use the fear of a new outbreak to fully mandate something like a wearable, okay? They'll keep track of your health, your temperature, and if you've been jabbed with the new AI mRNA designed vaccine that Trump funded. I mean, this is where things are headed. And isn't it just unusual that in the UK, Canada, all European countries are working in lockstep to achieve this? When you take a step back and watch it all unfold from a bird's eye view, it's so obvious. You can see they're forming a one world government here under the exact same laws and regulations, but yet they'll put on this show like they're, you know, against each other with the tariffs. You know, it's purely theater. In the UK, Labour is now pushing to align with EU car regulations, which means all new vehicles could come with a black box recorder and built-in breathalyzer tech. They're calling it safety, but it's just more surveillance, okay? These cars will now track your speed, your drowsiness, your braking, even your breathing, and eventually decide if you're fit to drive. This is part of the same global system, a one world government, one social credit regime, just rolled out sector by sector while the public stays distracted. And now they're rolling out carbon passports, meaning Brits could be banned from going on vacation if they exceed their carbon allowance. That's right, every person would be assigned a yearly carbon budget, and if you fly too much or leave your zone, you could be locked out. You can't book a trip, can't leave your little bubble. France already banned short flights, Belgium's taxing airline passengers, Amsterdam kicked out cruise ships, and Venice banned them altogether. This isn't about saving the planet, it's about locking it down. First it was cars with breathalyzers, then wearables tracking your vitals, and now your travel habits will be decided by a AI calculating your carbon score. These tools will eventually be used to block access to food, services, and even movement outside your government-approved climate zone. What's wild is watching this agenda play out in so many countries at once, different angles with the same end game. Whether it's through smart car tech, health apps, or flight restrictions, they're all building the same grid. It's not random. It's 8D chess played by demons who want total control over where you go, what you eat, thing on earth, because they believe if they collect enough of it, they can predict your every move, build a most important no, just algorithmic domination. And maybe that's why Yuval Noah Harari kept saying data is the most important thing on earth, because they believe if they collect enough of it, they can predict your every move, build a Minority Report style pre-crime system. I mean, Harari literally calls humans obsolete algorithms and preaches a new religion called dataism. The surveillance isn't evil, it's sacred. In their eyes, data flow is divine. And the ultimate goal is to connect every body, device, and thought into a global AI brain, not to free you, but to control you. Once your emotions and movements and even thoughts are digitized, AI won't just watch you. It'll decide what you're allowed to do. That's the end game, okay? And they're not even hiding it. The most diabolical part is Trump, RFK Jr., and the same people who claim to be anti-establishment are the ones laying the groundwork, you know, whether by design or by manipulation. This is the betrayal that seals the deal, okay? A biometric AI-controlled system that doesn't just watch you, it predicts and controls you. It's crazy to watch the sheeples on both sides, left and right, cheer this on. It's honestly scarier than the COVID insanity. So while Trump and RFK play this little theatrical performance on stage, behind the curtain, the real agenda carries on. Palantir is now integrated with the largest telecom and cloud platforms in America. AI regulation is off the table for any state that tries to resist. And your very body, you know, its motion, its pulse, and location is now being harvested and fed into a machine you can't see, can't touch, and can't opt out of. Don't make the mistake of thinking this is just some surveillance tech for, you know, China or some far-off dystopia. No, they're rolling this same exact agenda out everywhere. The US, Canada, Europe, Singapore, everyone's in on it. This isn't about fighting terrorism or keeping the illegals out or even stopping disease. That's just what they sell the people on. The real product is total control of everything, your body, your behavior, and now your damn environment. And just in case the cameras, apps, routers, and wearables weren't invasive enough, they've decided to recruit the insects. A few articles I saw recently.
Right. So it's a lot of information, but I just wanted to bring that out. And then I want to get this precept here from 2 Ezra 11.
Yeah, Harari. He says these masses are hackable. That's how he starts all his speeches. That's all I was thinking about. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. You've noticed every time I use this BibleStudyTools.com, it's always getting me to verify that I'm a human. I never used to do that.
So it's the Rothschilds family will have the $500 trillion that's controlling
Say it
everything.
again?
It's the Rothschilds family what's controlling most of everything, you know. 'Cause
Yeah, well, it's more than just them, right?
There's more than them. I
They
know.
have a
It's a
whole, yeah,
whole
it's a lot
network.
of, it's a lot
Yeah.
of families.
But them have 500 trillion USD.
So this is 2nd Ezra 11 and 36. In the GNT, it says, Then I heard a voice which said, Ezra, look straight ahead and think about what you see. I looked and saw that appeared to be an angry lion come roaring out of the forest. I heard it speak in human language to the eagle and say, that lion represents Yahawashi, but Yahawashi is speaking through his prophets. All right, and the eagle represents the Roman Empire, but America is an extension of the Roman Empire, the ancient Roman Empire. Okay, so it says, "Listen, eagle, to what I have said to you. It is the message of the Most High Yahweh. You are the only one left of the four animals that I appointed to govern my world, and to bring bring the ages of this world to an end."
That's right.
This is how we know that America is an extension of the Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire fell, but then Jake took it over, right? And then Esau came back, and now through the Brits, America came out of the Brits, and we're in the end days of the end days. All right. So if the world was to come to an end by the Roman Empire, America would spiritually have to be Rome and Babylon all wrapped up into one.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, "You are the fourth animal. You have conquered all the animals that came before you. As long as you have been in this world, you have ruled it through terror, oppression, and deceit, with a total disregard for truth. You have viciously attacked harmless people who were living in peace. You have hated those who spoke the truth. You have loved liars. You have destroyed the homes of those who were prosperous, and have torn down the walls of those who did you no harm."
Mhm.
And it's always been America that ran around the world with their so-called democracy, invading other people's countries and setting up puppet governments. Okay, and it says, Yahweh, the Most High, knows how proud and arrogant you are. The Almighty One has looked back over the world he established. The end has come, the final age is over. So, eagle, the time has come for you to vanish, along with your big, terrible wings and small, wicked wings, your evil heads, your awful claws, and your whole worthless body. So the whole system,
That's right.
right? The whole American empire. And again, historically, this is pointing to the ancient Roman Empire and the various what do you call them, Caesars that ruled. But America is an extension of the ancient Roman Empire coming back. So the whole system is going to be eradicated. All right, when the Lord visits this place by the way of nuclear and hypersonic missiles, and as well as the chariots. It says the entire world will be set free from your violence and renewed as it sets its hope on the judgment and mercy of Yahawah Bahashaam Yahawashi, who created it.
That's right.
That's going to be the great reset.
Fine.
Right.
Yep. That's right. That's right. That's it for me. Oh, brothers, got anything else you want to bring out before we close up?
I have a scripture,
Mm-hmm.
Deuteronomy 10, verse 14. It says, "Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's, Yahawah Bahashaam Yahawashi, thy power. The earth also with all that therein is." only the Lord Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Well, I just brought out that scripture. The point was really that the Lord controls everything, you know. He is the author of everything what's happening. He set it up, you know. This is all in his courts, you know. Everything what's happening is all directly from the Lord, from Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi.
That's right.
So as much as you want to look at it, the Lord has a chosen people that he chose from the beginning, from the belly, you know, from the garden, from time, you know. So it's just for our people to wake up, which is the elect and the 1/3, just to know that this is the time to know what's going on and to be grounded into this knowledge, man. You know, because the Lord is only dealing with us as the elect and of his chosen seed, his chosen line.
Yeah,
no one else can get it, right? So
just for the elect, the word elect on this side.
Yeah.
Wake up.
That's it on that?
That was it.
All right, so we're gonna close up. Lord willing, that was straightforward and edifying to the whole full elect of the nation of Israel. We're gonna give all praises and honor and glory to Yahawah, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. All right, and peace and mercy to the whole full elect. Psalms 144,000. That's teaching this word in truth and sincerity, as well as the innumerable multitude that sincerely believe upon the name of the Lord Yahawah and his son Yahawashi. All right, Kabbalah Ball, Kwama Shala, and Shalom to the whole full elect.